Hello again, everyone, from Tokyo, Japan. Welcome back to Two Wheels in Tokyo, where I'm coming to you from beautiful Yoyogi Park, which is a nice quiet place here today, other than the sound of the semis or cicadas, which are just starting to wake up in the heat of the summer. And today I'm going to be talking about a really unique bicycle, what is known as the Denshi Assist Mamachari. Denshi means electric, assist of course means assist, to help. And mamachari is the word for, or I guess the Japanese expression for, a family or shopping bicycle, or one which mamas use to carry their kids about on when they are running errands and stuff like that. Unlike most other Western countries, in Japan, the household here is still kind of traditional, usually has just one income earner, that being the father and husband, while the mother usually stays at home and takes care of kids and does the housework. And when she needs to get around, this is usually the way she's going to do it. Now, if you have been to Tokyo and you visited the suburbs of Tokyo, you'll have seen countless of these bikes. They're everywhere. They're usually parked in huge crowds in front of shopping centers or by train stations or daycare centers or wherever people have to go out and about on a daily basis. These have been very popular in Japan for the last, I guess it was nearly 40 years ago that the first ones were brought out. And the makers over the years have been companies like Bridgestone, Yamaha, Panasonic like this one here, and a variety of other makers, some imported. But generally, Japanese people, when it comes to choosing a power assist mamachari bike, they prefer to stick with Japanese brands. And there's a strong market for these bikes here. And any place you go, bike shops or the bigger big camera or other shops, Yamada Denki, will usually have these in stock. And as I said, you see them everywhere. Here in Tokyo, we have about 13 million people. The metro area has 38 million people, a lot of people. And about 15% of these people get around on bicycle, or they use a bicycle at least once per day. And a large percentage of them use bicycles just like this. Now, what are the advantages to the mamachari and why is it so popular? Well, first, it's very convenient. You can carry one kid or two kids on it. There are variations which have two seats, and of course they have a basket on the front for carrying groceries and things like that. When I was a kid, of course, we would take the family car to the grocery store a couple of times a month for the heavy shopping, and we would pack the car full of groceries and bring them home and pack them into our pantry and refrigerator. And that was, other than having to get milk from time to time, we didn't do a lot of regular shopping. Whereas in Japan, your typical refrigerator and pantry is much smaller than the ones they have in America. So Japanese people tend to go to a grocery store more often and pick up a smaller amount of groceries. So a vehicle like this is perfect. Another good thing about this vehicle is it's relatively inexpensive to buy. This one, when I bought it, it was 120,000 yen. And with the exchange rate at that time, that made it about $900, which, when you consider the amount of engineering and what you get, that's a remarkably good deal. This is when you see things like fully mechanical gravel bikes and mountain bikes and things like that selling for thousands of dollars, a bike with this much technology and this much utility for about $1,000 is it's crazy. It's a really good deal. Another reason, easy to park. You don't need a special parking spot. Parking is one thing which is not only hard to come by here in central Tokyo, but even in the suburbs. And even in the suburbs, it's generally not free. So you'll have to, this saves you the trouble of finding a parking space and also the expense of paying for parking. Now, this particular one is about a 2015 model. I bought it when my daughter was 1 year old. And I bought it mainly for my wife's use because she, like most other Japanese women, spends a lot of time at home and does the shopping and stuff like that. So I thought that this would be useful for her. But as it turns out, she doesn't use it very much. And I ended up being the main user of this bike. And I've put thousands of kilometers on this thing. Maybe you can tell by the wear and tear or the dirt or whatever. But of all the bikes I have, this is one which I use the most, even though it's probably the one I like to ride the least. But I prefer riding this bike to driving my car. I hate driving in Tokyo. So unless it's pouring down rain or something else is going down, if I have to run an errand or go to the store or take my daughter somewhere, I'm going to use this bike. Let's take a closer look at this bike. This one is a Panasonic, and a lot of people don't realize that Panasonic makes bicycles. They're very popular here in Japan. They make, of course, these mamachari bikes, mechanical ones or power assist ones. They come in 2-wheel models or 3-wheel models for older people who have a little bit of difficulty balancing. This particular one is it's a really strange name. It's a Gyuto Anis, and I don't know what language that's supposed to resemble. It's not supposed to be Japanese, but maybe Italian. Maybe Panasonic thinks that Japanese people think that electric mamacharis are some kind of Italian engineered or Italian styled vehicle, which they certainly aren't. And that orange sticker underneath, or yellowish orange thing, that's a theft prevention sticker. So whenever you buy a bicycle here in Japan, you have to register it at the local police department. They put the sticker on it, and that way if it gets stolen or lost or whatever, and the police find it, they can contact you and let you know. And unlike other countries, if your bike gets stolen here and you report it to the police, they will actually make an effort to come out to fill out a report and keep a record of the bike should it ever turn up. And what's more, if you've been in Japan for long enough and ride a bicycle, you'll eventually be stopped by the police when they do these random checks. And what they're really hoping to do is find bicycle thieves. And if you get caught stolen on a bicycle, you're in for a really hard time. So, as I said, this is a power assist bicycle, and it's powered by this battery here. And if I'm correct, this is a 25 volt battery, 8.2 amp per hour. You can check the state of the charge by pushing that button on it. So it's about 60% right now. And to remove the battery, you put the key in here, unlock it, and you can take out the battery and you can put it in the charger, which is included with the bicycle. The power controls are here on the front, and you switch on the bike by pushing the power button there. And the first thing it does is shows you how much battery power you have left. There's a headlight on the bike, and you can turn it on by depressing the button, and the light and the LED will light up to let you know that the bulb is on or the light is running, and you can turn it off to save battery power if you like. There's a switch here which will tell you how much reserve. So right now at the current setting and my average pedaling speed, I could go about 13 more kilometers. The precise power level, it would get me about 58 minutes and of course 60%. And yeah, I can choose how much power assist level I want on this bike. The higher you set it, the more it will help you. Now this isn't a fast bike. It will max out at about 18 kilometers per hour. That's about as fast as a heavy bike like this with the small wheels and all that can be ridden safely when it's loaded down with kids and groceries and things like that. The real advantage of this bike is when you have to go up hills. And no matter how much you have loaded on this bike and how steep the hill is, you can get the bike up the hill. It's a wonderful thing, especially in the part of Tokyo where I live, and there are lots of hills, and this makes it much easier. Like right now, my daughter is at ballet class, and I do navigate a few hills to get up to this part, or actually down from where I live and then back up. So the ability for these bikes to climb hills is quite wonderful. Another thing which the bike has is a 3-speed internal geared hub. And the 3 speeds, of course, the first gear will get you up the steeper hills. And the second gear up somewhat moderate hills. And when you're on flat ground or downhill, you can switch it to 3rd gear. And of course, we have the bell here. And as you would expect on a bike sold in Japan, the bell you can use very discreetly so you don't annoy other people. People here in Tokyo, despite the fact that it's a huge city, they don't like noise. They don't speak loudly. They don't talk loudly on their phones. They very seldom use their horns on the street, and when they use a bicycle bell, they use it quietly. You want to warn the person in front of you. You don't want to scare them out of the way. My wife added this feature here, which is a cup holder and phone holder, and as she never uses the bike, it still looks like new. All right, on the back it has this pretty cool solar charged tail light, which works quite well. Whenever I get on the bike, it starts blinking to let me know that it's working. On the front there is a dynamo hub, and what this dynamo hub does is kind of scavenge some of the power and helps I guess reduce the drain on the battery as you're using the bike. And of course this is the headlight here, which is quite bright, and you can simply adjust it by turning it up and down. Cool features these bikes have. The most interesting feature is the kickstand system. So the kickstand is wide and solid, and it's made that way so kids can get up and down on the bike without it dumping over. And it has a safety feature. This lever here, when you pull it forward, pulling that lever forward will lock the kickstand, so the bike won't accidentally come off it. Because, you know, more than anything else, kids love to jump up and down and stuff when they're on bikes, and that prevents them from disengaging the kickstand and having the bike fall over while they're on it. Another thing which is interesting is that when you engage the kickstand, it locks the steering. And the good thing about this is that the bike stays steady. You can put your stuff in the front of the bike, and the weight of carrying a load on the bike won't cause the steering to tilt and make the bike fall over. Now you can turn the steering if you push it hard enough, and that's what it's doing. And you can see this cable here. This cable runs from the steering lock all the way back to the rear kickstand, and that's how it's actuated. And in order to get the bike to go, you simply push the lock with your foot and then roll the bike forward like so. Then the steering is unlocked and you're ready to ride. And of course, to engage the kickstand, it's kind of like the center stand on a motorcycle. You simply push down on your foot while pushing the bike back. And usually that safety catch is supposed to come back forward by itself. I have to oil this one. It's sticking about halfway. This is a later variation of the mamachari with 20-inch wheels. The earlier versions all came with 26 by 1 3/8 wheels, which is kind of a size which is unique to Japan. Very popular here, but you don't see it in other places. The 26 by 1 3/8, that's also known as a 650A. And as I said, quite easy to find here, easy to find tires for, but if you're in America or Europe or elsewhere, it's not so easy to find. The 20-inch wheels are a much better option. For one thing, they lower the center of the gravity of the bike, and they make it lower, so it makes it easier for kids to get on and off the bike. And then if you dump the bike over and you have to pick it up, it makes it easier to get back up on its feet or back up on its wheels. One thing which I don't like about Japanese bikes is that they usually come with what is known as a Woods valve for filling up the tires. And the Woods valve is like a ancient early 20th century or late 19th century goofy thing which was invented in England to seal inner tubes. And it has a kind of funky thing which looks like a valve cap which you have to loosen, and you need a special pump to put on it. And it has a little funny rubber tube built into it which from time to time has to be replaced. It's really hard to get a tire pump on these things, and I have no idea why a country as modern as Japan, which can create a bike like this power assist bike and sell millions of them, and they still haven't moved up into the modern 20th century by putting on a modern tire valve on bicycles sold here. And most bikes here, all shopping bikes, all mamacharis, all the bikes that police use, the ones used by delivery companies, all use these stupid Woods valves, otherwise known as the English valve. The first thing I did on this bike in order to save the trouble of dealing with Woods valve was to put on regular American style Schrader valves. And if you have one of these bikes, that's what I would recommend doing with it. It'll really save you the trouble of playing with these stupid pump adapters and attachments and things you need to put the air in. One of the difficult things about doing that on this bike is you can see there's a lot of stuff on the back here besides the roller brake system, and not to mention the system for the kickstand, plus the kickstand itself, which is held on with enough hardware to, I don't know, hold on the deck of a boat. It makes it kind of hard to remove that back wheel and replace the tube, and I kind of learned that the hard way when I had to do this job. Oh, and the shifter cable on this side. So shifter cable, steering lock cable, roller brake cable, axle bolts, and not to mention the bolts for the kickstand itself. All that stuff has to come off, plus removing the chain in order to change the tube. So that's a real bear of a job. So, but now that I have the tube replaced, I've had to do a couple of flats on this. So what I do is I simply just let the air out of the tire, break the bead, and just pull out the tube where it needs to be patched. And I'll put a patch on it and put it back and keep riding. That saves a hell of a lot of labor, and so far I haven't had to replace the tube since. A good thing about these bikes is they come with stainless steel chain, which doesn't rust and requires very minimal lubricant. One thing that I notice in Japan, and what other people who come here notice, is that Japanese are not very good about lubricating the chains on their bicycles, and often when you hear bikes going by, they're screeching and making all kinds of noise from the chain, and some of them are clunking and stuff because parts of the chain are frozen or locked up. And you know, from time to time, I'm tempted just to take a big oil can and go to the nearest place where all the bikes are parked and just oil all the chains, and save people the hassle of riding a bike which has a really screechy, dirty, rusty chain, and also so it doesn't break and leave them stranded somewhere, because I have seen bikes cruising around here in Japan which have had broken chains. I often wonder why these bikes aren't more popular in other places. They're obviously not going to be popular in America because, you know, their speed and range isn't sufficient for getting them around so easily in American suburbs. But in places like Europe, this would be in urban Europe, these would be a really good option to get around for the reasons I mentioned. You know, they're easy to ride. They tame any hills. You can carry quite heavy loads on these bikes, and the batteries charge fairly quickly, and you can go quite a distance on them. Now, this battery now isn't lasting as long as it did when the bike was new. When I got it new, I could go a really long ways between charges. I remember I had like 60% on this battery, and I rode from Roppongi and took my daughter all the way out to the Tokyo Skytree and back, and still had 20% left on it. Right now, I couldn't get one way to the Tokyo Skytree on the battery, but fortunately, replacement batteries are easily available for these, though they cost about $300. That tends to be the unseen hidden cost of things like in EVs, the battery cost. Another thing I had to do was replace the seat post, because I'm not Japanese and I'm taller than most Japanese people, and I couldn't get the seat high enough to ride the bike comfortably. So I got this super long seat post, and I cut it down to where I can lower it enough for my wife to ride it on those rare times she does, and raise it up high enough to where I can ride it without getting my knees sore. Now, the color on the bike was originally pink, and I chose that because my wife, like many Japanese women, like the color pink. And of course, since she never rides, I end up having to ride a pink bike quite regularly. But on the positive side, if I never wash it, which I never do, the pink kind of turns into this cool, like, I don't know, desert beige color, which I think looks much better than the original pink that it originally was. But anyway, that's it for this really long video about this Panasonic Denshi Assist mamachari. If you're in Japan, or you come here and you're looking for something which is like a unique gift that you could ship home, or you live in the city or something and you want something which is really a really strong, well-made, good utility vehicle, lasts forever, is easy to use, and has a lot of very useful features, I would really recommend one of these bikes. And I don't know, maybe you guys living in bigger cities outside Japan could contact Panasonic and see about becoming a dealer for these bikes, because I don't know if they would sell well, but from a practicality standpoint, they're really hard to beat. Anyway, it's about time for me to go pick up my daughter from ballet, so I'll go ahead and put this bike back to its intended use. I'm going to be putting more videos on this channel as time allows, and if you'd like to see these, please subscribe. If you like this video, please like it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you tune in again soon.